Welcome to Armoria, the channel dedicated to unraveling the deepest strategic secrets of history. Today we journey into the shadows of World War II to dissect a secret weapon far more powerful than any tank or bomber, the Enigma machine. For years, the German High Command rested its strategy on the unwavering certainty that its encrypted communications were money-proof, unbreakable, a financial asset of absolute military value. They were wrong. The key to cracking this unyielding cipher, an intellectual triumph that changed the course of global conflict, was found not in a sprawling industrial complex, but in the minds of a small, brilliant team of Polish mathematicians. The mere existence of this code-breaking ability, a secret worth more than all the gold reserves of Europe, was a strategic countermeasure no enemy could foresee. What you're about to discover about how they took the first crucial steps to dismantle this $10 combination lock, securing the most valuable intelligence in the world, will truly surprise you. Keep watching to unlock the hidden history of the Enigma's downfall and understand the true cost of underestimating mathematical genius. The information we are about to share fundamentally changed the course of the war, proving that intellectual capital often outweighs military might. The historical evolution of the Enigma machine is a fascinating study in technological escalation and military secrecy. Initially patented by German engineer Arthur Scherbius, the machine was merely a commercial curiosity designed for businesses seeking simple, reliable cryptographic solutions. The German military's eventual adoption, first the Reichswehr, then the burgeoning Wehrmacht and Kriegsmarine, transformed it into a device of unprecedented national security importance. The commercial model was swiftly modified, with critical enhancements that elevated its security, primarily through the introduction of the plug board or Steckerbrett. This crucial addition allowed operators to swap pairs of letters before and after the main rotor process, dramatically expanding the number of possible daily keys. The German High Command, particularly after the introduction of these features, held an unwavering, almost religious faith in the machine's invulnerability. They considered the communications secured by Enigma to be an ironclad financial asset, a guaranteed advantage on the global stage. This absolute confidence led to a dangerous complacency regarding operational security procedures, a vulnerability that would be brutally exposed. For Poland, a nation newly resurrected after World War I and positioned precariously between two aggressive giants, Germany and the Soviet Union, the need for effective signals intelligence was not merely strategic, it was an existential issue. The Polish intelligence apparatus, recognizing the fundamental danger, established the Biuro Szyfrów, Cipher Bureau. Their mission was galvanized by the sudden and complete inability to read updated German codes, including those from the Navy in 1926 and the Army by 1928, signaling the adoption of a cipher far superior to anything they had encountered. This challenge demanded a total re-evaluation of cryptanalysis methods, and the Cipher Bureau made a revolutionary decision that set them apart from their Western allies. While the French and British intelligence services were largely populated by linguists, philologists, and traditional analysts focusing on frequency counting and codebook recovery, the Poles correctly identified the Enigma as a problem rooted in pure mathematics, specifically combinatorics and abstract algebra. This pivotal realization led to a targeted recruitment drive at the University of Poznan in 1929. The individuals selected, Marian Rejewski, Jerzy Różycki, and Henryk Zygalski, were not chosen for their military background or linguistic acumen, but for their mastery of advanced mathematics, particularly the theory of groups and permutations. They viewed the Enigma not as a language encoding device, but as a system that implemented a daily permutation of the alphabet, governed by a complex yet ultimately solvable set of algebraic equations. This intellectual leap was the key to their eventual success. The Polish commitment to this algebraic approach necessitated a substantial investment in specialized training and resources, proving that brain power, when correctly focused, could overcome a lack of massive industrial funds. Their work became a high-stakes intelligence operation where the currency was knowledge and the potential profit was national survival. They were pioneering the application of advanced mathematical theory to cryptographic problems on a scale never before seen, transforming a seemingly insurmountable hardware problem into a manageable sequence of equations. This early, focused capital of intellect would later be leveraged into the massive Allied ultra effort, but its genesis lay entirely within the halls of the Biuro Szyfrów. The challenge was clear: how to use algebra to bypass the physical security of the machine and determine its internal wiring without ever physically possessing it. This intellectual cost was one they were eager to pay. To understand the Polish triumph, one must first appreciate the staggering complexity of the Enigma's design, which was intended to secure an unparalleled financial advantage through military secrecy. The machine functioned as a complex electrical circuit. When an operator pressed a key, an electrical signal traveled a convoluted path. This path began at the keyboard, passed through the pre-processing stage of the plug board, and then flowed through the heart of the machine, the bank of 3 interchangeable rotors. Each rotor was essentially a wheel with 26 electrical contacts on each face, connected by a unique, secret wiring pattern that defined a substitution cipher, a permutation of the alphabet. The signal traversed the rotors from right to left, undergoing 3 sequential substitutions, 1 for each rotor. The defining feature of the Enigma, the source of both its strength and its fatal weakness, was the reflector, or Umkehrwalze. Positioned at the end of the rotor bank, the reflector was hardwired to redirect the signal back through the rotors via a completely different electrical path. The signal then traveled back through the 3 rotors from left to right, undergoing 3 more substitutions, finally exiting through the plug board again to illuminate the encrypted letter on the lamp panel. The brilliance lay in the dynamic movement of the rotors. Every time a key was pressed, the rightmost rotor advanced 1 position. After a full rotation, it would cause the middle rotor to advance, and so on, creating a sophisticated mechanism known as the stepping or carrying mechanism. This guaranteed that the cryptographic key changed with every single character typed, producing a massive cipher period before the sequence repeated. The total number of unique daily settings, rotor order, rotor position, ring settings, and the complex plugboard configuration resulted in a crypto-variable space of approximately 10 dollars combinations, a number that seemed to guarantee permanent security and justified the large expenditure on the machine's production. However, the reflector, the component that ensured the cipher's auto-reciprocity, meaning encryption could be reversed by retyping the cipher text, held the secret flaw. By wiring the contacts in pairs, the reflector ensured that a letter could never be encoded as itself. If an operator pressed A, the output could be any letter from B to Z, but never A. This seemingly innocuous design choice, introduced to simplify operation, was the mathematical crack in the fortress. Rejewski and his team realized that this property was independent of the plug board and the rotor settings, providing a consistent constraint that could be used as a filter. This was the first, most crucial intellectual asset they acquired. They used this fundamental constraint, this one piece of certain knowledge within a sea of possibilities, to begin eliminating millions of potential keys. The very thing the Germans relied on for operational simplicity became the undoing of their strategic finance in secure communications. This vulnerability, the self-cancellation property of the reflector, was the Achilles heel that the Polish mathematicians were uniquely prepared to exploit through the rigorous application of abstract mathematical theory, proving that a single subtle design detail could nullify a massive investment in complexity. The true leap forward in the Polish effort, the moment that effectively broke the Enigma wide open, stemmed from Marian Rejewski's audacious application of group theory to the problem of the daily key, exploiting a devastating flaw in German operational procedure. In 1932, the cryptographers had access to some crucial but incomplete intelligence provided by the French Secret Service. Documentation related to the Enigma, including a manual and some key sheets, and critically, details regarding the German protocol for initializing a message. However, the essential secret, the internal wiring of the military rotors, remained locked away. The massive number of possible plugboard settings made any traditional attack unfeasible, as the plugboard's permutations obscured the underlying rotor action, rendering the cost of manual trial and error astronomical. This challenge was immense, demanding a radical new approach, one where pure intellectual capital would be leveraged against the physical machine. The operational flaw that Rejewski seized upon was the German practice of double encryption of the message indicator. Every day, a master key, the key list, specified the daily rotor settings, ring settings, and plugboard connections. To transmit a message, the operator first chose a three-letter message key specific to that message. They then used the daily master settings to encrypt this three-letter indicator twice, a repetition intended as a safeguard against transmission errors. Rejewski recognized this repetition as an algebraic gift. By analyzing the relationship between the first and the fourth letters of the resulting six-letter header, the second and the fifth letters, and the third and the sixth letters, he could isolate three specific permutations generated by the Enigma after 1, 2, and 3 steps of rotor advancement, respectively. The key mathematical insight was that the plugboard's substitution, though complex, was static. The effect of the plugboard on the beginning of the signal was the same as its effect on the end of the signal. When comparing these repeated letters, the distortion caused by the plugboard effectively cancelled itself out, or more accurately, could be mathematically neutralized. This allowed Rejewski to focus solely on the hidden permutation created by the movement of the rotors. He treated the entire Enigma machine, including the plugboard and reflector, as a massive mathematical group operation that performed a unique daily substitution. By focusing on the relationships between the repeated characters, he was able to apply the theory of permutation cycles. This theory allowed him to look at how letters transformed into other letters over the three-step sequence, observing patterns. For instance, if A turned into K, and K then turned into D, and D finally returned to A, this completed a cycle of 3 letters. Rejewski realized that the characteristics of these cycles, specifically the lengths and the number of the cycles formed by these letter relationships, were constant for a given daily setting and, crucially, were entirely independent of the plugboard wiring. The plugboard, which was meant to increase the machine's security and protect the Germans' investment, was rendered irrelevant to this specific form of analysis. By meticulously recording and analyzing these cycle patterns across thousands of intercepted message headers, Rejewski developed a comprehensive set of algebraic equations. He then meticulously worked backwards, using the observed cycle structures to systematically eliminate possibilities and determine the unknown variables, the secret internal wiring of the 3 rotors. This monumental task involved solving a massive system of equations, a true intellectual marathon that went on for months. His eventual, almost miraculous triumph in December 1932 was the successful construction of the first fully functional replica of the military Enigma. He built this machine without ever seeing or capturing the original military hardware, relying purely on the power of deduction, mathematics, and the exploitation of a human operational mistake. This breakthrough, achieved with minimal financial investment but maximal intellectual capital, proved that a procedural flaw, a failure in human execution, was far more damaging than any technical weakness in the machine's hardware. The Germans had traded security for a perceived convenience, and the Polish mathematicians extracted an invaluable profit from that decision. This realization was the greatest asset the Allies would gain in the intelligence war. If you are following the complexity of this mathematical battle, remember to hit the like button. Your support is our ongoing investment in revealing these critical historical secrets. The magnitude of this intellectual victory cannot be overstated. It was the moment the Cold War shifted irreversibly in favor of the future Allied cause. The groundbreaking success of Rejewski and the Cipher Bureau in 1933 allowed the Poles to read Enigma traffic for years, but this golden period was constantly under threat. The German High Command, though unaware of the Polish breach, continually modified the Enigma and its operational procedures in ways that gradually eroded the effectiveness of the initial manual methods. The introduction of new rotors, increasing the set from 3 to 5 in 1938, significantly complicated the problem of determining the correct rotor order each day, as the possible combinations of rotor selection jumped from 6 to 60. Furthermore, the increasing complexity and variable use of the plugboard demanded faster, more automated solutions. The manual, painstaking process of mapping permutation cycles became too slow to consistently crack the key before it changed at midnight. The clock was the Polish cryptographers' most relentless enemy, and they recognized that time-sensitive intelligence was a perishable asset. The first major countermeasure to this escalation came from Henryk Zygalski, who pioneered a highly efficient, though still semi-manual method known as the perforated sheets, or Zygalski sheets. This system was an ingenious application of the cycle theory in a physical form. It involved creating 26 large sheets of paper or celluloid, each representing one of the 26 possible starting positions of the third or leftmost rotor. Each sheet contained a matrix of perforations. The location of the holes was based on statistical patterns, derived from the cycle lengths and characteristics observed in encrypted traffic. The sheets were overlaid in specific configurations dictated by the known daily patterns. The principle was a visual alignment. When the sheets were stacked correctly, corresponding to the correct rotor order and ring settings, a small window of light would pass through all the perforations simultaneously, indicating a potential solution, the female that revealed the day's key settings. This system represented a clever, low-cost means of automation, circumventing the need for expensive, complex machinery. However, even the Zygalski sheets, which required meticulous manufacturing and were labor-intensive, were quickly superseded by the need for speed. The definitive Polish answer to the mounting complexity was the bomba kryptologiczna, or Polish cryptological bomb, conceived by Marian Rejewski in October 1938. The bomba was the world's first electromechanical machine specifically dedicated to cryptanalysis on a mass scale. It was a physical realization of the algebraic equations, a machine designed to automate the process of finding the three rotors' initial positions and their order. The device was essentially a complex arrangement of interconnected Enigma replicas running in tandem, designed to test combinations at high speed until a contradiction with the known cycle relationships was found, leaving only the correct initial settings. The bomba demonstrated a profound understanding by the Polish team that modern cryptanalysis of complex systems was not merely an intellectual puzzle, but a problem of machine computation. They understood that the continuous German investment in cryptographic security required a parallel investment in high-speed, dedicated decoding machinery. This pioneering work in mechanized code breaking was the crucial step that provided the conceptual blueprint for the massive scale-up that would eventually occur at Bletchley Park, proving that the earliest, most difficult hurdle in the cryptographic race had been cleared by the focused capital of three Polish mathematicians. As 1939 dawned, the political landscape became increasingly fraught, and the shadow of German aggression grew long over Poland. While the Biuro Szyfrów had demonstrated unparalleled intellectual capability, their operational capacity was severely limited by national constraints. The constant stream of German enhancements to the Enigma, more complex plugboard usage, frequent changes in operational procedures, and the ever-present threat of a new, unknown rotor required an ever-increasing allocation of financial and industrial resources to maintain the pace of decryption. Poland simply lacked the necessary industrial funds to manufacture the scores of bombas and thousands of Zygalski sheets required to counter the German war machine's exponential investment in military communications. Recognizing that their work was about to be obliterated by the impending German invasion, and understanding the monumental strategic value of their secret, the Polish government made one of the most selfless and strategically profound decisions of the war to share their entire cryptanalytic apparatus with their Western allies. In a highly secretive conference held in the village of Pyry, just outside Warsaw, on July 25th and 26th, 1939, the Polish team met with representatives from French and British intelligence, including Major Alistair Denniston and Hugh Foss from the British Government Code and Cipher School, GCNCS. The polls revealed the full extent of their success and presented the entirety of their intellectual property. The precise details of the internal wiring of the military Enigma rotors, the fundamental mathematical method based on permutation cycles, and most critically, the concepts and blueprints for the Polish cryptological bomber. The reaction from the British and French representatives was one of stunned realization. The intelligence reports confirmed that prior to this meeting, both nations were operating in a state of near-total cryptographic darkness concerning the Enigma. Their own efforts had stalled, proving incapable of mathematically tackling the complexity introduced by the plugboard. They had been wasting substantial capital on futile methods. The transfer of this knowledge was a gift of incalculable strategic worth. It provided the Allies with a technical and conceptual leap that saved them years of trial and error. Without the Polish breakthrough, historians argue the Allies would have been years behind, unable to read vital German Air Force codes until late 1941, and crucially lacking the ability to break the U-boat codes of the naval Enigma until late 1942 or even 1943. This delay would have catastrophically prolonged the Battle of the Atlantic, leading to the starvation of Great Britain and the loss of thousands more ships, lives, and billions in material wealth. The Polish act of sharing their secret, their most valuable intelligence asset, was an acknowledgement that the collective fight against Nazism transcended national interest and became a pivotal, life-saving moment in the entire history of the Second World War. Their scientific investment had just paid the ultimate dividend, a foundation for Allied victory. The knowledge transported from Pyrie was immediately put to work by the British at Bletchley Park, BP, the nerve center for the Government Code and Cipher School, GC&CS. Codenamed Ultra, the project began with a singular, crucial advantage: the proof of concept that the Enigma could be broken, along with the detailed mathematical blueprint for how to do it. The British cryptanalysts, including Alan Turing, Dilly Knox, and Gordon Welchman, were relieved of the most difficult and time-consuming part of the puzzle, figuring out the rotor wiring and the core principle of attack. Their mission became one of industrialization and scale, using the Polish intellectual capital to build an operation capable of decoding the daily Enigma keys in time to affect battlefield decisions. Alan Turing, the principal architect of the British effort, focused immediately on the mechanization of the process, adapting the Polish bomber concept to meet the dramatically increased volume and complexity of the German signals. The result was the British Bommy, a sophisticated electromechanical machine designed primarily by Turing and refined by Gordon Welchman with the addition of the diagonal board. The bomb was specifically engineered to accelerate the search for the daily key by testing various rotor settings based on cribs, short assumed plaintext sections like common German phrases or weather reports that were likely to be contained within the intercepted cipher text. The core difference between the Polish and British machines was scale and automation. The bomber used banks of rotating drums, simulating the electrical pathways of multiple Enigma rotors, to rapidly check for contradictions in the cribs. The machine would cycle through potential rotor settings at high speed, indicating a potential correct key setting or stop whenever the electrical contradictions cleared. This was a critical step in turning a challenging algebraic problem into a routine, high-throughput industrial operation. The British government poured substantial funds into this massive manufacturing and deployment effort. The first operational prototype, Victory, was ready in March 1940. The operation grew exponentially with the eventual deployment of over 200 bomb machines in stations across Britain, predominantly operated by women of the Women's Royal Naval Service, WRENS. This huge expenditure was justified by the unprecedented success of the ultra-intelligence. The Polish Foundation was the indispensable initial investment that made Bletchley Park possible. The eventual need to break even more complex German teleprinter ciphers, known as the Lorenz cipher, would later push the limits of this automation, leading to the development of the Colossus, the world's first large-scale electronic digital programmable computer. While Colossus broke the Lorenz and not the Enigma, it was the final inevitable evolution of the philosophy of mechanized cryptanalysis pioneered by the Polish mathematicians, securing a massive profit in intelligence that ultimately helped win the war. The flow of intelligence from Bletchley Park, codenamed Ultra, was a strategic force multiplier that directly influenced every major theater of World War II. Its impact was perhaps most decisive in the Battle of the Atlantic. The ability to continuously read the naval Enigma, the M4, the most complex variant, allowed the Allies to plot the precise location of German U-boat wolf packs. This intelligence enabled convoys carrying vital supplies and troops, the lifeblood and capital of the Allied war effort, to be rerouted around danger zones, protecting ships and saving countless lives. By turning a blind game of chance into a game of informed strategy, Ultra fundamentally shifted the balance of power in the Atlantic. Beyond the Atlantic, Ultra intelligence proved vital in North Africa, providing General Montgomery with detailed knowledge of Rommel's supply lines and battle plans, contributing significantly to the victory at El Alamein. It played a crucial role in planning the invasions of Sicily and Normandy, ensuring the Allies knew where German reinforcements were located and what their command and control expected. Historians universally agree that the intelligence derived from the Enigma break saved thousands of lives, millions of tons of shipping, and potentially shortened the war by 2 years. The return on investment of the initial Polish intellectual breakthrough was immeasurable. Yet despite this profound success, the story of the Enigma break was shrouded in absolute secrecy for decades after the war. This was a calculated strategic necessity. The methods developed at Bletchley Park and the knowledge of how codes could be cracked remained crucial assets for Western intelligence throughout the early Cold War. The consequence of this prolonged security policy was the near-total erasure of the Polish contribution from the public record. The narrative initially focused solely on the British and American efforts, relegating Rejewski, Różycki, and Zygalski to historical footnotes, or omitting them entirely. The personal cost of this secrecy was high. The Polish cryptographers were denied the recognition they deserved for decades. Jerzy Różycki perished in 1942, never knowing the full extent of his impact. Rejewski and Zygalski continued to contribute to the Allied cause, but lived the rest of their lives in relative obscurity. The historical wealth of their contribution was locked away. It was only in the mid-1970s, as the Cold War eased and the historical necessity of secrecy diminished, that the full details began to emerge. With the release of official documents and the testimony of participants, the historical record was finally corrected. Today, the seminal role of the Biuro Szyfrów is universally acknowledged as the indispensable first step. The Polish mathematicians did not merely assist the Allies, they provided the fundamental intellectual capital and the crucial algebraic roadmap, without which the massive, successful effort at Bletchley Park could never have begun. The story of Enigma is a testament to the fact that the greatest strategic victory can often be secured not by financial superiority, but by the relentless pursuit of knowledge. Thank you for exploring this fascinating historical secret with Armoria. The story of the Enigma is not just a tale of machines and codes, it is a profound testament to the power of mathematical thinking and the selfless strategic decision of a nation under threat. The Polish mathematicians, Rejewski, Różycki, and Zygalski, didn't just break a code. They provided the intellectual foundation that allowed the Allies to secure the ultimate strategic profit, victory in World War II. Their legacy is one of the greatest acts of quiet heroism in modern history. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into history's most compelling mysteries, and to like this video if you were surprised by the true origins of the Enigma break. Tell us in the comments what other cryptographic secrets or historical strategic moments you'd like us to cover next.